Well, it's done. A release for her as much as me. It's only when you kill someone you understand that life and death, they're very similar animals, very similar beasts. People often go on about taking life, but it happens every single minute of every single day, whether by intervention or whether just on its own, by nature's own cause. Each individual death is as special as the next one to come. I suppose some could argue that death of natural causes is rather unspecial, whereas someone who chooses to make you his victim, there is something quite exquisite. You're made special by the very fact that you've been chosen, that your death is not by natural means. I can still see her eyes. When you cut someone yourself, when you've made them bleed to death in front of you and slowly fade away, it's then that you see the link between life and death, that you can only imagine before, but to feel it, to feel your hands upon the vessels that keep one person alive or dead. To have that power, to have that control. That can't be imagined, only felt once done. Her eyes looking upwards. I think she was hoping to see a dove or something fly away. Or maybe she could. She'd lost so much blood that maybe she was imagining all sorts of things. Tunnels and lights and visions. Thinking that she was going off to a better place. Maybe she was from the one I dispatched her upon, but I suspect at the very end all she saw was darkness. Quite literally, as I severed her optical nerves. Her vision would have faded away like a TV being switched off. Preparing her for the darkness, for where she was going. When I had her chest cavity open, all those organs, all those vessels, all those nerves and blood, like a bath of blood where someone had just thrown willy-nilly everything in. And yet, it was working and beautiful. And how wonderful the body has been made that you can cut so many parts of it away. You can interfere with so many parts of it, remove so much, and yet the person will remain alive and be able to feel your work. But to be honest, her screaming was a little bit annoying. That's why I cut her voice box out. But for the very beginning, when she screamed with those first incisions, that must be like when Beethoven played his first symphony to an audience of just one. She didn't realize it as I took her life away, how meaningful the moment was, that it was just me and her. How much memory that I take away from the act that I have committed. How she will be in my every thought until another one comes along that I make better my dispatching. She has been made special by me in my mind, up here, and in my heart, that I take away with me to the grave, to my unhallowed ground, in a wooden box, 6 feet under the very secrets of those very last moments, those very last words, those very last looks, those last screams, those last gasps of breath that I have and no one else. Do you know what beauty there is in that? Is there any moment that two people can share together than at the moment of death, where every secret, where every truth is laid out for just one lucky enough to hear? And I heard all her last words, all the things that she wished to say. Well, at least begging for mercy and for me to stop, of course. And until her voice box was cut, which was unavoidable because it meant that I couldn't hear any more last words, but at least she stopped screaming. Which, as wonderful as it was at the beginning, did great. And was distracting. I wouldn't want to cut the wrong nerve because I wanted her to live as long as possible. Her chest was almost empty before I severed her heart, and she faded and died. She is one of the very few that managed to see her own internal organs before her very eyes. Although I can't imagine that she saw very much. What with all that loss of blood? If only I could feel what she felt, see in her mind as well. If there was but a means to do that, then yes, that would be even more exquisite. But that is for future murderers, if that word be chosen correctly.